You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 59. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where I show you how to stop over drinking in 90 days without missing out on life. If you're not an alcoholic, but fed up with saying yes to a drink when you mean to say no, you're in the right place. Hi all, and welcome back to the podcast. So by the time this episode is released, we'll be about 3/4 of the way through January. And for all of you doing dry January, you may at this point in time be finding it a little tedious or tricky or boring. You may be looking forward to February. And if that is the case, this episode has got you, because not only will this help you to understand how to stay the course in January, but when, if you loosen things up and you get back to drinking in February, this will help you to continue to be the sort of person, be the sort of drinker that you want to be, right? And so today we're talking dead-end questions. It's one of my favorite topics. So simple. It's the beauty of this. Now, what do I mean by dead-end questions? Well, these are essentially questions that take you nowhere. Now, if you think about when you're driving in your car, you're going from A to B, you pass one of these no-through roads, as we call them in the UK. I mean, they're roads that essentially don't go anywhere. Now, you might want to go down one if you live down one, if you've got a friend living there. I mean, typically a cul-de-sac would be a no-through road. But if you're actually driving from A to B, you want to avoid these dead-end roads, these no-through roads, right? They just don't take you anywhere. They add nothing to your journey, but actually it's worse than that. Not only does going down one of these no-through roads not help you get to your destination, they actually slow you down, because think about it, you've driven down it, you've got to then pause, you've got to do a 3-point turn or maybe a multi-point turn. If it's a narrow road, you've got to turn around and basically retrace where you came from, right? Retrace your steps. I'm not sure if you can retrace your steps in a car, but you get what I mean, right? You have to go back on yourself, spend more time and effort and energy to get back on track, so that you can continue with your journey. Well, dead-end questions are just like that. Now, before I get into some examples and exactly how you can spot a dead-end question, let me explain why this is such an important topic. And it's because the brain loves answering questions. In fact, the brain is a question answering machine. That's its purpose, right? You give it a question, it'll give you an answer. And you can do this with any question. And even if the answer you get to any question you ask yourself is, I don't know, well, that's still an answer. Side note here, if you find yourself answering, I don't know, I want you to check out episode 44 of the 90 Days Later podcast to understand what to do if you're faced with that situation, right? So in any case, if you are asking yourself questions, the brain will answer them. And if you are asking lots of dead-end questions, you're going to get lots of dead-end answers. You're going to get lots of really rubbish answers. You're going to be in those answers building evidence as to why you are where you are. You'll be building evidence as to why you're stuck and why you're always going to get stuck. And because you'll be sitting in that no-through road, right? You're going to be sitting in that no-through road going nowhere fast. So maybe you'll be trying to turn around, but it's very difficult and it just doesn't feel good. So here are some examples of dead-end questions that I hear a lot. Why can I never learn? Why was I such an idiot last night? Why can't I just drink like a normal person? Why did I give in again? Why do I always self-sabotage? Why am I such a screw-up? How did I get myself into this position? Shouldn't I know better by now? I've been doing this for so long. What is wrong with me? Why will I never learn? I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on. Now, often what happens is, right, we don't answer these questions explicitly. We kind of treat them as rhetorical questions. We ask them in our brain. But even if we're not answering them out loud, we are answering them in our brains. You can be sure of that. You can be sure that your brain is busy answering them. And what we also find, what I see a lot, is that they domino, right? We ask one and we answer it, we ask another and we answer it, and one leads to the next. So for instance, why am I such a screw-up? Answer, because you have no self-control. Why do I have no self-control? Answer, because you're pathetic. How did I get to be so pathetic? Answer, You're so pathetic, you can't even figure that one out, right? All of this keeps you stuck. I repeat, all of this keeps you stuck. This kind of Q&A rhythm is going on in the background, and it's just going to keep running and running and running and running. So no wonder we feel useless and pathetic and all those other horrible things that we say to ourselves. And I see this so much of the time, and I see this even when I'm talking with people, my clients or just people generally, about what's going on, and maybe even they've had some success, and then we have, one of these dead end questions leap in. I did this all right, this was really great, but what if it stops? Or what if I'm not able? What if that was a fluke? Right? These things don't help. Now, on this short and sweet podcast today, I want you to take a lot of action, massive, massive action, and it's very simple. So here's what I want you to do. First, I want you to set a timer for 5 minutes. Grab a pen and paper and write out all your dead end questions. Just write them down, no judgment, and see how many you can find. Now I want you to have a go at answering a couple of them. Just pick one or two and answer them. Write the answers out on the paper. Then review it. How does it make you feel when you see the answer you've been giving yourself there in black and white? All right? Do these answers give you a sense of va-va-voom? Yeah, I'm going to do this. I can conquer this. I can do this drinking thing. I can make sense of this drinking thing. Do they make you want to get up and go? I thought not. What I'm going to offer is that all you're doing is digging yourself deeper into your situation. These questions, these dead-end questions, have you thinking that you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. I love that expression, right? So what that means is you're saying you want to change your drinking, and you may really want that for yourself, right? You may absolutely, desperately want that. But at the same time, you're keeping yourself hostage by asking these dead-end questions that are giving you these rubbish answers that are not enabling you to move forward. So here's what you can do about it. Equally simple. First, I want you to recognize when you ask one of these questions. Just stay on the lookout for them, right? When one flits across your brain, notice it. And this is why, by the way, it's handy to have that written out list that you just did, because it kind of makes you more aware of them. You'll recognize them more quickly. And then when you have one of these questions appear, I want you to recognize it for what it is without judging yourself. Instead of saying, oh gosh, why am I thinking that dumb question again? Which, side note, you will notice is also a dead end question. So instead of saying that, you're going to say something like, interesting. I wonder why I'm thinking that. What's going on right now? What do I need right now? What will serve me right now? How can I be my own best friend right now? How can I put my best foot forward? How can I make a good choice? And how about this one? It's really powerful. I may not know exactly what to do, but what's the next best step I can make? And my friend, if you still have no idea, guess. Guess at something, give it a go, even rephrase the question in a way that is going to serve you. What do I know so far about my drinking habit? What have I learned on the 90 Days Later podcast? What can I put into action right now that will serve me? See, you're taking control back, and you'll then be asking yourself questions that the brain is going to answer, and these answers are going to be moving you in the direction that you want to go. You see how easy it is? Becoming aware of your thinking and ditching dead-end questions is such a simple but powerful technique. And here's the brilliant thing. You can do it anywhere at any time. Another one of my favorite power questions is the following. How can I best help myself to change my drinking? Right? That's digging into what you know. And I've got a great answer for you too. It's to hire me. Of course. You want to stop over drinking, and that's what I help people do. I help people like you overcome this struggle each and every day. So what are you waiting for? Apply to get coached one-on-one by me. It's just you and me. It's very private. It's very confidential. We'll get you to the point where you've completely changed and transformed your relationship with alcohol. You start by booking a free consultation call with me. You can do that at 90dayslater.co, and at the top of the page, you'll see a big blue button, book a call. Click on that and we'll chat and we'll get started. Okay, that's it for this week. I'll see you next time. If you like what you're learning in the podcast and you want to take the work further and achieve total freedom around alcohol, let's talk. I help my clients stop reaching for that first glass of wine the moment 6 p.m. rolls around and they don't miss out on life. And we do it in 90 days. The effect is permanent. Email me for more information on anna@90dayslater.co. And if you did enjoy the show, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a rating and review to help others find the 90 Days Later podcast.